Tonight Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist, and we break down one of their records. We get into the music, the lyrics, how it was made, and everything in between. Right now, we are in easy, hard season of the podcast. We're almost done with this season. This is where we take a band that we really like and we do a record that is not very good or not very popular. So that's why we're doing Metallica's Saint Anger this week. My name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. While you're listening, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, tell your friends, share all the posts. That's all I have for the boring intro.
I'm tired of talking.
I am. So like I said, we are doing, we just did an hour of ranking all the Metallica records. Yes, I'm tired.
You're tired of me, your fucking stupid ass rankings.
Oh, okay. Settle down. So we're doing Saint Anger from Metallica. Album came out in 2003. Controversial record, very controversial record, which we'll get into. But let's start with our origin story with Metallica, and then also first impressions of Saint Anger from the band too. So what do you got? Go.
I guess I have like 2 origin stories. My origin story is pretty much like Enter Sandman and then Forward, and never really liked that song. And then Saint Anger was such a big record for us. Just like it got so much publicity, both good and bad, mostly bad. But it was just fucking dumb, dude. I remember like when this came out and just thinking like, this is the fucking band like you guys wear t-shirts from and shit. Like this sucks. And then just never really went back and just never cared. And no one ever pushed me hard to go back and listen to early Metallica.
Oh, nobody did.
I didn't know anybody.
I've known you for 25 years now.
I didn't know anybody. Years now. I just didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody that pushed me to go listen to early Metallica
until the year 2020. That was when we did
2020.
Yeah,
and I remember exactly where I was, and I remember what I was doing. I remember when Battery hit, and it was like like the acoustic intro. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Then all of a sudden, like the dun dun dun. I was like, oh, okay. And then I went into the real song. I was like, oh, fuck, this is wild. So that's like my. That's like my origin story with Metallica, but like my true origin story is Enter Sandman, and never liked Metallica after that, but never went back to the early stuff.
All right. My origin story, is Enter Sandman. Would hear it on the radio, saw it on MTV, never liked it. I thought it was stupid. I heard the song I Disappear back in 99. That was really popular with all like the new metal stuff because it was kind of like a new metal song itself, and I really liked that Metallica song. But after that song, I just kind of didn't care anymore. Didn't decide to look more into Metallica after. And then it wasn't until freshman year of high school, very beginning of freshman year of high school, somebody played me Kill 'Em All, played me that record, Hit the Lights came on. Within 30 seconds, I was absolutely hooked and completely obsessed with this band. I immediately went out and bought the Kill 'Em All CD. And I just listened to it every fucking day. That freshman year of high school, I listened to it every fucking day. Got Master of Puppets, got Ride the Lightning, and also got And Justice for All. And I just would not. I listened to it so much in high school. It was crazy. And that's my origin story. I mean, hating Black Album Metallica, but then absolutely falling in love with 80s Metallica, which that's honestly the case with most people. Once you hear the 80s stuff, you can't get back into the 90s stuff or get back into the Black Album. It's just so much better. So yeah, that's my origin story. And first impressions on Saint Anger, I was very excited when this album came out. I was full in Metallica season. Metallica, obsession. I had a Metallica hoodie that I wore all the time too, which I eventually lost, which I was very bummed about. But yeah, Saint Anger came out and I hated it. I hated it the moment it came out. I heard the song Saint Anger and I tried to like it. I really did. I burned it onto a CD, like a mixed CD I had, and I really wanted to like it. Frantic came out. I really wanted to like it, but I couldn't do it. And then the album came out and I bought it. I'm like, okay, maybe these 2 songs aren't that great. So I bought the CD and I tried for like 2 weeks. I listened to it every day for like 2 weeks. And I couldn't get into it. I hated it. I fucking hated it. And it still hasn't aged well. It still has not aged well. It's fine at moments. It's fine, but overall, it's not a good record. It's really not a good record. And if you listen to the rankings episode, I ranked it very low, and your dumbass ranked it way too fucking high. So,
Appropriately. I ranked it appropriately.
because you're an idiot. Only
No,
idiots rank it that high.
I like to hear just something different from Metallica sometimes. I don't like to hear the same fucking song 11 records deep, so that's okay.
Which Saint Anger is them trying to be like fucking Master of Puppets again. That's exactly what this record is trying to be.
Saint Anger is trying to be musicians when they have lost all hope of being just decent human beings. This is
and you're only saying that because you and I both watched the documentary, the Some Kind of Monster documentary.
That's why this went higher for me, is because of the documentary. I put this higher. This was below Black Album. After the doc today, I put it above Black Album. Because like, damn, bro, like you guys were bad people, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always been known, even before that documentary came out.
Yeah,
it was always known that they treated Jason Newsted like shit, and he had every reason to leave the band when he did. Like, he should have left the band after they recorded Injustice for All, and after they did him so dirty, he should have left then. But for him to stick it out for 12 years, 13 years is crazy.
The whole like Dave Mustaine stuff, and like, cause Dave was crying on there. He wasn't actually crying, just kind of being a baby. He's like, in the whole, like, I wish I was in the number 2 band. I wish I was number 1 band. Like, fuck off. But like, I get it. It is kind of sad. It did make me feel bad for Dave Mustaine. And he's like, I wish they would have put me in rehab back in the day. It's like, man, you guys were like 20, dude. Fuck off. Like, what the fuck? Like, what 20-year-old has their head on their shoulders? Get the fuck out of here. Quit crying, dude. Move on.
And also, Dave Mustaine was like reading all the stories and shit. Dave Mustaine was very violent. He was fighting with people and just like really hurting people, like physically hurting people. It wasn't just like emotional shit. Like, he was physically and emotionally fucking people up. Yeah. So
like, Kurt's not going to fight back, and Lars probably the only one that's going to fight back. James is going to fight back.
James is like, honestly, he really is the true leader of the band. He just puts up with Lars because he knows Lars is a really good arranger. So he just puts up with Lars' bullshit.
And James is such a little bitch.
He is a little bit. And like in the documentary, he comes off as a huge bitch. And then if you watch like all the videos from the making of the Black Album, James is a dick too. Like, he is hands down the leader of the band. Like, you can't even deny it. A lot of people talk shit on Lars for being the leader of the band, but it's really James. He's just more like Lars is. I don't even know how to explain it.
I mean, like, realistically, you could take Lars out of the band and they would survive. You cannot take James out of fucking Metallica. So 100%. Yes, he's the leader of the band, absolutely. But I don't even know where to begin. Do we talk about the record? Do we talk about the doc? Because there's so much stuff in the doc that I want to talk about. So I mean, wild.
If nobody's seen the Some Kind of Monster documentary, it's on YouTube. It also pops up on various streaming sites every now and again. But it's like a 2-hour documentary of the making of Saint Anger, going from the firing of Jason Newsted up until the release of this record, and getting Rob Trujillo, the bass player, into the band and everything. Yeah, it's wild, man. They get a psychiatrist who's with them for like 2 years, clearly taking advantage of them and taking advantage of Bob Rock. And clearly Bob Rock is also taking advantage of this band.
Dude, they're paying him so much money just per day just to exist. And it's just like, dude, you're fucking worthless.
The only thing that I felt kind of like after watching the documentary, because I've seen the documentary probably 5 or 6 times over the last 20 years.
Too many hours.
Because it's always fun to go back to, because it's so outrageously stupid, and these guys are so emotionally underdeveloped. I mean, at this point in time, they're like 40 years old. Like, we're the same age as the Metallica in this documentary, and watching how they act compared to how we act, I get it. It's a very different environment and atmosphere, but damn, dude, these guys are going through a hardcore midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bob Rock, though, I feel a little bit bad for him, because after watching the documentary, he wanted to be in the band so bad. Like, to the point where he played all the bass on this record. Rob didn't come in and re-record any of the bass. Bob Rock did all of it. He was playing shows with the band before they got robbed.
Fucking gross.
And he was doing a lot. He was doing all the stuff with the psychiatrist. Like, he was essentially part of the band.
Get
for those, like,
out of
3
here,
years.
dude. That's all I thought the whole time. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You interloper. Get out.
And what really irritates me about the whole situation was, it's like, obviously the issue is James and Lars. Like, their egos are outrageous.
Of course.
Kirk is the biggest pushover in the world. He always has been. But the fact that, you know, Bob Rock is being paid a tremendous amount of money to be the producer, getting good performances out of the band, but he's acting like he is not only part of the band, but he has the same issues as James and Lars and Kirk and everything else. Like, dude, you are here to like ring everything in, to bring everybody in together, get the best performance, but you're bowing down to James, you're bowing down to Lars,
Yeah.
like, especially James. It's like, dude, you're here to like get the best of these guys, but you're getting the worst of them. You're letting them walk all over you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was pretty wild.
It was pathetic.
When
Bob Rock was
James,
pathetic.
It was pretty wild when James was like, all right, at 4:00, like I'm done. And it was like, okay, like, I was like, oh, that's fine. You can take off at 4:00. He's, but that also means like you can't listen to any more music. You can't critique anything. He's like, what? Oh, hold on there, dude. Like, I respect you're like recovering alcoholic and stuff, and I'm gonna do the best I can to like work around that schedule. But like, you can't, no, bro. Like, the whole world doesn't fucking stop just because James Hetfield decides that I used to leave at 4:00. And Nick, he was really butthurt about it. And then I kind of felt bad for Lars. I was like, no, that's not the way it works, my guy. No.
Yeah, you're the one who can't control it. Like, Lars is a crazy, I mean, he was a crazy alcoholic too, but it's like he didn't let it affect the band the same way that James did.
Yeah. And like, whatever. If he needs help, he needs help. Fuck off. Whatever. Who cares, right? I don't care. That's not the problem is like James thinking that the world stops at 4:00 because James has to leave at 4:00.
That everything revolves around James.
No.
And I what I really liked was that Lars called him out on. He's like, no, this is fucking bullshit. Like, we've bowed down to you for like the last 9 months. You disappeared for 9 months. Like, nobody talked to you for 9 months, and you come back and say, well, you can't work. Between 9 to 4, that's the only time we could work together. You can't do anything else after. It's like, who the fuck are you? Like, I did like that Lars called him out on that, because nobody else would have called him out. Lars is the only one who could stand up to James. There was
a time when they even said too that like that they didn't know where James was in the beginning, like because he had checked himself into rehab or something, and they found out through like a mutual friend. Like, that mutual friend was the one that called Lars. Like, hey, dude, you know James is in like rehab, right? It's like, no, I haven't heard from him in fucking 2 months. I have no idea where he is. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Which, like, again, like, I get it. Like, get yourself in fucking rehab, get healthy and stuff, but like, you can't expect everyone to like uproot their whole fucking livelihood because of you.
Yeah,
and then still be a dick about it.
And then getting back to like Kirk also being the biggest pushover ever, especially with his band. Like, he seems like such a nice dude, like such a nice, genuine guy.
And just
God, he's just seems like such a sweet guy, the coolest guy to hang out with, I'm sure. But there was one point, it was during that blow up in the documentary where Lars is like, how can you say we can't listen to anything when you're not here? And then kind of under his breath, Kirk's like, well, that's kind of what I've been dealing with for the last 15 years. Like,
he did say that.
He calls him out, like saying like, now you know how it feels. Like, he literally tells Lars, now you know how it feels for the last 15
nobody
years.
Even acknowledges him.
Nobody acknowledged him. So they treat Kirk like garbage in that band.
Even again, like, Kirk's replaceable.
He is replaceable, but it's like, God, dude, he's a human being. He's been in the band since the first record, and it's funny. Like, you even watch because they post so many videos, and they film so much of their concerts and backstage stuff, and you even watch like up to like 5 years ago, the way they treat Kirk backstage when they're rehearsing. They still treat him like, they just straight up ignore him. He'll be talking to them, and they won't even acknowledge him, and they just move on in the conversation. And it's so uncomfortable. And people always bring it up in the comments. They always bring it up in the comments, like, why are you treating Kirk so dirty? He's such a nice guy. Like, being such assholes to him. But it's true. Like, they just straight up don't give a fuck about Kirk. It's so sad. It's so sad.
He's just, God, he's just
so bad for him.
He's a lovable loser.
He is.
So fucking
and the
funny.
thing is, like, he's still a really great guitar player. He really is a awesome guitar player. He's not the best, but he is an amazing guitar player. And what he's contributed to this band is fucking amazing. And for James and Lars to just treat him like garbage for 40 plus years now, it's disgusting. It's fucking gross,
I do. A lot of people do make fun of Kirk, and I make fun of Kirk. But like, if you took the aggregate of all like the bigger bands with really good guitarists, Kurt's above average. He's above average. He's probably like right on that medium, but maybe a little bit above. There's so many big bands with worse guitarists than Kirk, for sure.
I agree. And people always compare Kirk to Dave Mustaine, which I get. You know, Kirk replaced him. But I mean, when you look at like solos on a lot of the riffs and shit that Kirk plays once he was in Metallica, it's usually much better than a lot of the stuff that you hear from Mustaine. I mean, Mustaine technically is leaps and bounds better than Kirk. Like you can't even argue that. He's a better guitar player, but the songs that he writes, the solos he writes aren't as good
It's
as
hard.
Kirk.
It is hard to think like what part of whatever riff Kirk's playing did he actually write, or did someone help him write, or I don't know.
True, yeah.
So I don't know, but he's a good guitarist.
But I'm talking more the solos too. I feel like Metallica guitar solos, Kirk's solos are better than Dave Mustaine's solos from a songwriting aspect.
I find them boring. I find them pedantic. Same old.
Okay. Well, anyway, the documentary, it's a very fun watch. It's very embarrassing at moments, and pathetic at moments.
I don't know if they did this on purpose in the documentary, but there was one part where James had talked about like he's like, I'm a dad now. Like I need to worry about my kids, and it shows him right away on his motorcycle with no helmet on.
That's true.
And he's like flying through the back alley. It wasn't a main road; it was an alleyway, like an industrial complex.
He's
leaving
the rehearsal studio
after he slams the door.
Yeah,
and he has no helmet on. Like oh my god!
Yeah,
dude, here we go. Like if there's any saving grace, it's mentioning your kids. I need to be a better father. And you zoom away, going way too fast in the back alley with no helmet on.
No helmet on. Yeah.
Come on, my guy. We're better than this.
I know. It seems like he's a much better man, a better guy since this era of Metallica. Like you watch a lot of the Death Magnetic stuff, the Hardwired stuff. I know he's had like rehab. He's gone to rehab again, like during COVID and shit, or right before COVID. But you know, you watch the Death Magnetic stuff. He seems much nicer and a lot more welcoming to people and all that kind of shit. And also, you see, you know, Dave Mustaine coming back and them playing with Dave Mustaine.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Have you seen them play? I think it was Phantom Lord back in 2012 or 2013 or something. And you know that Dave Mustaine, because Dave Mustaine starts the song, so he sets the pace, he sets the tempo. So Dave Mustaine starts the song, but plays it way faster than even on Kill 'Em All. And the whole song, Lars is struggling. Like he's really having a hard time. Like even James, because James is like has one of the greatest right hands in music, in metal music. But even James is having kind of a hard time keeping up with Dave. But watching Lars struggle was so fucking funny. Of course, Rob doesn't. Rob is just an amazing musician in general, so he didn't give a shit. But
dude's a caveman. Dude's a fucking caveman. Incredible. He's so fun to watch. He's so good. He's so just like electric. But he's a fucking caveman.
Yeah. Like and in the documentary,
what's he doing over here?
I love him in the documentary too because he seems so nice and so genuine, and he's just so happy to be there. Yeah, like there's one point where they're because it's the whole segment is them auditioning for bass players. Some crazy cool bass players that auditioned
was cool
as
too.
well.
With that whole sequence.
Yeah, it was super rad. And then like one of the bass or the guitar techs goes back into the studio or back into like the warehouse, and he's like, so like, yeah, we have all these basses here. Jason took everything, but we still have like dozens of basses. Like, what do you want to play? He's like, I don't know. Kind of just show me. He's like, you want to do a 5-string or a 4-string? We have some 5-strings. He's like, yeah, what kind of 5-strings do you have? Like he totally lights up. And then they give him a 5-string and he just fucking rips it up. And like after the whole rehearsal, like the band are just like, they love it. They're like, I haven't seen anybody play like this since Cliff. And it was cool. It was cool.
I do think like I don't know. And they even said in the documentary, like, had Cliff showed up to that rehearsal, would they have hired him? Like, they don't know because they're a different band now. But I do think there's like a romanticizing of Cliff, and I like that Rob was there to kind of fulfill that what we knew of Cliff back years ago. Like that's what we remember him as is Rob. But now like Rob's actually really, really good and can like pick up on the nuance that is new Metallica and not just old Metallica. So I think Rob does like a perfect old Cliff bleeding into what could have been a new Cliff.
I agree. I
like it. It's cute.
Yeah, he's like Rob is so multifaceted as a musician, he's a great guitar player too. Like there was a video that popped up in the early 2010s of them just kind of like hanging out backstage, like jamming in the jam room before a show. and they're talking about playing there. Or I think Rob said, "Yeah, I could play flamenco style guitar." And they're like, "Bullshit, you can't do that." So they got him like a classical guitar, and Rob is just fucking ripping up flamenco style, just tearing it up. And James and Lars like, holy shit, like they couldn't believe it. And then they called Kirk in, and Kirk's watching it, and he can't believe it. And then all the comments on the videos are like, dude, he's the best guitar player in this fucking band. Like he just he runs circles around both James and Kirk. It was just
so funny.
The guy is so good. The guy is so fucking good.
I think like the biggest takeaway from the doc for me was like, damn, dude, like I'm just as good of a drummer as Lars is in this fucking documentary. Like I cannot believe that. Every time we jam at fucking Dave's house,
it sounds
whenever whoever's playing the drums is exactly what we're playing.
Yeah, I agree.
Playing filler music. We're just playing filler drums, dude. We're just trying to keep the beat. That's it. Lars is bad, and he's no shirt. And why is Lars? First of all, Lars is always eating. He's always snacking on something.
Yeah, he's always.
And he always does this thing with his lips. He always like pops his mouth all the fucking time. It's what the fuck is that, dude? Yeah. Ugh, hate it. Lars with like short hair looks better than long hair too because he has that weird 100% on his head.
Yeah,
that's all right. Whatever.
Weird lineup.
Like the LeBron James thing going on.
Yeah, I get it. Also, what I did like when they eventually did hire Rob, they're like, hey, you know what? You're like up front, you're not a hired gun. You are an official member of the band.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like even the lawyer was like, yeah, we're gonna start it off where Rob gets 5%, you guys split the other percentage, and James is like, no. James and Lawyer's like, no, he's getting an equal 25% with the rest of us. And the lawyer's like, okay,
32, and then you get 5.
And then 5 or something like that.
And then we'll go up from there. Yeah, James was like, no, what the fuck? How is that
we're doing 25.
Sense?
Yeah, it's fucked up. And then like they sat Rob down at the table and were like, hey, you know what? Just to show that we're serious, we're gonna pay you $1 million right now. We're gonna pay you $1 million right now, plus equal share in the fucking band. And you could just see like Rob's face, like he's shocked. He's truly shocked.
Which I don't think that they paid him. I don't think he does have equal shares in Metallica, but it's a cute thing for the documentary.
Maybe. I don't know.
There's no way.
I don't know.
There's no way.
I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that documentary was crazy. And I feel like the only reason why we're talking about it as much as we are because this album has like no substance.
There's not a lot here for sure.
There's not.
But the documentary it needed to be talked about. It needed to be watched. I was glad I watched it. It was something else. That was pretty wild.
It was. Yeah.
It made me like and hate all of them even more, like individually and stuff.
Yeah.
And Bob Rock's just the worst, man. He's now my most hated producer.
More than Rick Rubin, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because even though Rick Rubin's just a sleuth, the fucking slob who doesn't do shit, Bob Rock is a guy that he's an interloper. As soon as you leave, he's gonna fuck that little dog. He's just an interloper. He's just gonna try and get his Weasley little way into your fucking group, dude, and try and take over. Right? It's fucking weird. That's the name of that song, right? Interloper.
Yeah, the name of the Slipknot song. Yeah.
There's I know stuff, bro. I know stuff. As soon
as that camera's off, yeah.
It's just gross to think that like Bob Rock played bass on a Metallica record. That's wow.
And you listen to the so I listen. I mean, obviously, I've listened to this record dozens and dozens of times over the last 20 years. But listening to it this week, I listened to it on my stereo. I've listened to it with headphones in. Headphones is a completely different. If you listen to it with headphones, it's a completely different experience, and I recommend everybody do it because it just shows how much worse the album actually is. Because I mean, Metallica have always been the thing where they play to the stereo channels. James plays on one side, Kirk plays on one side, but there's a little bit of mix in the middle where to kind of bring it all together with the bass and the drums and shit. But Saint Anger is so separated. There's no middle ground. It's like bass is right in the middle. And then that fades out a little bit. And then Lars is all over. He's all over the fucking spectrum of the mix. So the guitar tones on this record are horrendous. They decided to play in drop C tuning on several of these songs, which is fine. Love drop C. I love Korn. They play in drop A and drop C. Love that shit. If you do it right, it's great. Here it sounded bad. These guys are not down tuned guitar players. I mean, these guys are
No.
playing standard tuning,
They're
maybe
thrash
D.
fucking metal
Yeah.
guitarists.
And the only reason they ever play in D or drop D is because it's for James vocals. Like that's the only reason why they drop it down. But here they just did it because it was popular. It was popular at the time to tune down like significantly. And when you hear it on a stereo mix, these guys suck. Like their performances straight up suck. The guitar tones are terrible. The bass on this, I mean, Bob Rock is a shit fucking bass player. Like he's literally just playing, he's just following the guitar. That's literally all he's doing is following the guitar. And he just sounds like a bitch in the mix. He's a total bitch in the mix. It's terrible. And then once again, Lars's drum tone, and it's his snare and it's the crashes. It's the big splashes. Dude, it covers the entire mix. Like it bleeds into literally every single part of this record, and there's no stopping it. Like Lars doesn't know when to shut the fuck up.
He doesn't know when to start either. He doesn't know how to do anything. He's he's absolutely worthless as a drummer.
Yeah. He's fucking terrible.
He's so fucking elementary. It's insane. He's gotten worse every fucking record post Master of Puppets. It's incredible. It's like he deliberately tries to be bad. How do you not? Just by jamming with good people, you are going to get better. You're going to pick up on tricks. You're going to pick up on timing. You're going to do things that you normally are uncomfortable with doing, and they'll work around you. They will make you better. Lars has gotten fucking worse.
Yeah. Like, and not only is he such a bad drummer, but also like the engineer couldn't even help him, because there are moments on this record when you're really listening to it and you're like, oh, this is where they cut. This is where they cut because Lars couldn't transition into the fast part. He couldn't come out of the fast part. So you could literally hear the cut, but because the transition was so bad and the cymbals bleed so much that you could literally hear the fucking cuts between the different parts. Not even just like verse, chorus. This is like transitions within the verses, transitions within the choruses and the bridges and this and that. Dude, it was a mess. And you watch the documentary and because they were like super into Pro Tools, and Lars was super into like, you know, oh, let's take the fucking kick out of here. Let's take the kick out of here. Let's put the kick here. And it's just like copy and pasting, which whatever, that's fine. That's totally fine. But on this record, it sounds like garbage. It sounds fucking terrible. And this is just like all the technical part of this record. We haven't even gotten into the actual songwriting yet. Like the songs themselves are horrendous. Like these are guys, we know that they've made incredible songs, incredible fucking records, like beyond bangers, absolute beyond bangers. And this is like them reverting back to being 12 years old and like picking up the instrument for the first time, singing a melody for the first time. Like James's vocals are insanely bad. Like
there's a lot. You're just okay. All right, this is
terrible. This
reel it back a little bit.
Straight up
reel it back a little bit here. It's the blueprint for a good Metallica record is here. There's cool fucking riffs. There are cool riffs in the vein of like Seek and Destroy, Kill 'Em All, that they could have done a lot better for sure. The sound is atrocious. This is a band that like they are having a midlife crisis. There's a lot of Slipknot in this record. There's a lot of Korn in this record. It's just 100%. Fucking. It is way too late. Like these guys finally realize, like, damn, we're old. What do the kids listen to? What about that new band Korn? There's fucking Limp Bizkit in this record. Like there's a lot of new metal, and they try and do it, but it's like, dude, you're fucking 5-10 years too late, man. Like that ship has sailed. Like you are not gonna jump on this train right now. It's just not gonna happen. And you're not that good. That drum sound that we hear where it sounds like he's just hitting an empty keg, like a beer keg. You know, the whole like concept of like, oh, Lars says like, oh, I forgot to put the chains on the snare. I forgot to flip them up. And I just liked it. And it was kind of like different. Like, man, you just trying to sound like fucking Slipknot, because Slipknot does have that kind of sound.
They do,
but it doesn't sound like shit though, right?
Yeah.
Those are like musicians that actually are looking for that specific sound and are going to fine tune it to make it sound exactly the way they want it to sound. Lars just wants to sound like somebody else, doesn't know how, and that's the closest he can get, and it sounds like fucking garbage. I get it. But it's cute. I find it cute. I find it endearing. I find it like grown ass men who just got caught not being able to play their instruments.
Let's get into Lars' snare, because I mean this is like the biggest thing about this record is his snare tone.
I don't mind the snare.
Dude, come on. Like this is just like I would like to fuck around with this, but this is just like objectively bad. So I get it. We got the late 90s, we got the piccolo snares, we got the super high pitched snare tones, which I personally love. I love that. But it's like, and you mentioned with Slipknot, with Joey on the self-titled Slipknot record,
there was like an industrial sounding tinge to that snare.
It did, but it still had enough of a crack because he was using the chain on the snare, but he was also hitting it so hard.
Dude. You're not fucking playing reggae and shit. That's why it's there.
That chain is there for a very good reason, especially in rock music. But also, Joey is one of the greatest drummers in rock music of all time, if not the greatest in rock music. Can't argue that. I wouldn't say of all time, but in rock music, objectively, he's one of the greatest. You also have Ross Robinson, one of the greatest producers of all time. The tones he got, the performances he got out of people was absolutely incredible. Comparing that Slipknot record, Joey's tone on that Slipknot record, and Lars on this is just disgusting. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I get Lars. Yeah, I get it. Lars was probably trying to do that.
That's what he wanted to do.
That's what he wanted to do, but he has no idea how to do it.
No, he's an idiot.
Bob Rock just wants to be in the band.
Bob Rock wants to be fucking Ross Robinson. Bob Rock wants to be a Brendan O'Brien. He has no fucking idea what to do.
But he wants to be in the band, so he doesn't want to push the buttons. He doesn't want to like push back on Lars. He doesn't want to push back on James. So he's like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Like even though it sounds like garbage, it sounds fucking good. I want to be in the band. It sounds good, Lars. It sounds fucking great. I'm a yes man. Like Bob is a pure yes man at this point. And Lars, like fucking Lars, man. He's a great he really is a great arranger. Like the one thing about Lars I like is like he is a great arranger. He can arrange a fucking song and it sounds fucking great. But one of the worst drummers ever. And yeah,
he really is like he's for sure the worst drummer in a big band, in any kind
100%,
of like mega band like this. He's the worst it's ever been.
He really,
there's nobody worse than him.
Bad. He's bad.
Again, he's gotten worse. And I'm a firm believer that it's a deliberate attempt just to be a fucking asshole.
And you also know, dude, I mean, come on. We saw with Injustice for All with that record, he because he didn't like Jason, because Jason wasn't Cliff, he was like, take the fucking bass out, turn it all the way down, turn my fucking drums up, turn my fucking snare up, and my kick drum all the way up, because that kick drum on Injustice is terrible too.
Yeah.
But he's like, turn it all up. So he has a track record of being a fucking asshole in the studio and turning his drums up way louder than in the mix compared to everybody else. And that's what he did on this record. But the snare tone on this compared to Injustice is horrendous. It's so bad. And then mix that also with James's vocals. I mean, whatever. His melodies, him as a vocalist, he's not very good. And the melodies on this record are terrible. But also, they are the driest sounding vocals I've ever heard on any mix. I mean, there's no reverb there. It's just like, they're so extremely
naked,
dry.
He's naked and afraid. And I'm like,
there's
why
nothing.
would you do that?
There is nothing. And it's so jarring with the rest of the mix. And then they turn James's vocals up super high in the mix too. I don't get it. They're super dry and they're way high in the mix. It just makes for just like, it's almost like they went into the studio and they're like, let's do everything wrong we could possibly do here to make a record, and that's what this is. People want guitar solos. Fuck it, we don't want guitar solos. No, fuck it.
That was such a good part of the doc too. That's such a good part of the doc too. And Kurt's like, oh, I'm tired of like traditional guitar solos. Like just because we can doesn't mean like we should, man. I'm like, man, every fucking one of your guitar solos is exactly the same. Get the fuck out of here.
Kind of in Kirk's defense, he within that 5-minute conversation in the documentary, he completely 180'd. At the beginning of it, Lars is like, I don't think we should do guitar solos. It's not of the time right now. Like people aren't doing guitar solos. I don't want to just go back and just kind of do what we always do. That's lame. We should move forward. And then Kirk immediately, his rebuttal was like, well, if we do that, which is fine if we do that, that puts us in this era. That dates us. That immediately dates us to this era of music, and that's not going to be good in 10 years. Then Lars is like,
it's funny.
It's true.
You're already about to be dated because of your Metallica doing this.
Yeah. And Kirk calls him out on it, and then Lars is like, well, I kind of don't agree with you on that. And then Kirk flip flops 180s because he doesn't want to piss off Lars. So he 180s and like, yeah, you're right. I guess we don't want to do solos because we don't want to fall back on our old ways. It's like, dude, you had Lars here, like you had him, you could you completely proved him wrong. Like his thought process was completely wrong, and then you back down. You back
This is
down to Lars.
There's nothing wrong with being dated. There's nothing wrong with
No,
like
there's
being
not.
like right. This is a genre that existed in a very specific point of time, and if it's good, then it's good. And you can do it later on, and it's also good, and it's fine. Nothing wrong with being dated. It's like that's not the problem here. Like the snare tone is not the problem here. It is a problem. It is not the problem. James'
Yeah.
vocals is not the problem. Like the problem is when you take all these individual little things, it's all the small things, and you put them together. Like that's the problem. If you had a great Metallica record with that snare tone, we would talk. It'd be like Justice,
fine.
right? We would talk like, yeah, well, the bass could be turned up a little bit. Like, the snare tone kind of sucks, but damn, it's a good fucking album. Like
It's a great
that's
fucking
Saint
song,
Anger.
great album. Yeah.
There's a lot of things here to like, but there's like so much stuff to pick apart and fucking hate.
Mm-hmm.
But I still believe like the bare bones blueprint of a great Metallica record is here somewhere. It's just lost. It's lost in midlife crisis. It's lost in an interloper, and it's lost in just two friends that even Lars kind of said, I was like, damn, that's fucked up, dude. When he talked about like how it took 42 beers for him and James to like tell each other I love you, man. He's like, yeah, but like it took 42 beers, and I think I just don't even know that person. I thought I've known the whole time. It's like, dude, daddy, chill.
I know. There were so many vulnerable moments. So many vulnerable moments though in the documentary. There were moments where you did feel bad for like each individual guy, you felt bad. But then in the grand scheme of it, it's like, man, once again, you guys are 40, 42 years old. Like, come on.
Talking about like maybe he was never my friend. Shot. Why? Because he didn't fucking like send you a card or something. Like fuck off.
I know.
Dude's got a kid. Like chill.
And
bro.
it's also like you reach that age and you're like, how many friends are you really friends with? For the most part, how many friends are you really friends with that you were in high school? Like you and I are obviously an exception to that, but most of the time, you don't really hang out with the same people you hung out with back then.
You don't need to. And like,
no, you don't. Yeah.
If even like friends from our high school and stuff, we meet up with them very, very rarely on
every
super
couple of
rare
years.
occasions.
Yeah.
And nothing changes. Like we just say, hey, how's it going? And we just jump right back into where we were. And it's fine. And if we don't call each other, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
it's life. Let's call life, dude. But man, Lars is like, I think Lars takes everything so personal from James. Like he just wants James' affection so bad. And James just wants all control.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I think that's what it is. Because it seems like Lars just wants James's affection. And James he loved Jason for like a minute. Like everybody loved Cliff. And so I think like Lars just takes everything fucking personal.
Yeah. Well, even in the documentary too, they're talking about, or Lars is talking about Dave Mustaine, and he's like, yeah, James and I were we were so close in the beginning, and it's like we'd hang out in my room and just listen to records and talk about music and write music. And then he's like, and then we met Dave Mustaine, and then James changed. He's like, he would hang out with Dave and we all get drunk, and then James would treat everybody like shit, like. And I get it. There are people like that are just like one person friends. So like they only like one person at a time. You know what I mean?
There it is. Lars is a one person friend.
He's a one person friend, and that's really what it is. And
God, dude, one people friends. Those people are wild.
Yeah. So, and we all know people like that. We've all grown up with people like that.
You have to like tailor your entire life around like, okay, if I hang out with this person on this day, that means I can't talk to this other person 2 days before that or a week before that. It's a whole like strategy. It's like playing chess because this fucking person just can't grow the fuck up.
Yeah. Damn, we've really gotten into the psychology of this band, and we have not talked about a single song. But
dude, I love a lot of these songs.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot to talk about on these songs. I'll, before we jump into some of the songs individually, once again, there are some great riffs. There are some great parts on these songs that should have been expanded on in different aspects. But overall, these songs suck. There's only I got 3 bangers. I have 3 bangers.
Good.
Only the one banger. Only the first one is like truly a banger and playlistable. The other 2 are like, I got a lot of nostalgia with it. I've listened to these songs a lot. And then there's one just total fucking stinker for me. Stinker.
Oh,
like real stinker. So I don't know. What do you want to just do our stinkers and then we'll get into the couple bangers.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
I'm just kind of going through it. Yeah, I have 3 bangers. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 bangers. I have a couple songs that I might throw up to like the higher echelon of mid tier songs, but not quite bangers.
Mm-hmm.
All Within My Hands, the closer. I think that's a stinker. I don't like that song at all.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's just a straight up boring song. Like, just it's not a stinker. It's
a
just
bad closer.
Forgettable.
It's a bad closer.
But closes are allowed to be bad. But
yeah, exactly. Like we've given passes to closers for being bad because it's a closer. But like, no, man, this is the closer. The closer should be the second best track on the record. End on a good note.
Spit Out the Bone. On Hardwired. Yeah.
Butterfly, Only in Dreams.
Nah, okay.
Whatever the closer was from White Album that we just did.
I mean, I don't really care to talk about the stinkers too much. Do you want to talk about All Within My Hands?
I really only want to talk about our bangers, and that's about it.
Okay. So the only other bad song I'm going to talk about is Shoot Me Again. That is my stinker.
People like that song a lot.
Because they're stupid. Because they're dumb.
I agree. I don't like that song.
The song's terrible. Shoot me again. Shoot me again. It's just like, what are you, fucking George Bush? Like, what? Get the fuck out of here. Like, you sound like an idiot.
Can't shoot me again.
Shoot me again. Shoot me again.
Dude, like the lyrics on this whole entire album, I was like,
terrible.
dude, you need to grow up, bro. Like, this is bad.
And there aren't even that many lyrics. The amount of times he repeats himself on these songs, like he'll do like 5 choruses, or he'll just repeat lines over and over and over again. I get it. He's trying to be more vulnerable on this record overall, like talking about his depression, anxiety, substance abuse, all that kind of stuff. But the lyrics just don't hit. I think they're really cheap. They're weak. And even in the documentary, there was a part where they're all writing lyrics too. It's like, wait, why are they all writing lyrics for James?
I know.
Like
when he's the one going through the shit and they're all writing lyrics for him. It's all, like,
it's weird. It's fucking
completely
weird.
Takes away from like what he's going through.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like, I know I hope it's not just like a whole ploy thing. I know he's going through some like serious shit. Listening to this record, I don't get that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel what he's feeling. I have no empathy whatsoever.
I don't really either. And a lot of people say they love this, they really like this record because it has a lot of energy. It has a lot of emotion. They're very pissed off. They're very aggressive. And I get it. I mean, there are certainly moments where it feels that way, but I mean, I fucking take the emotion out. The songs still suck. Like, you could be very aggressive. You could be pissed off. You could be very emotional, but if the song isn't good, I mean, it's not fucking good. I just don't care. Like, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse for a bad song. And
so
that's what these are.
I do think these are decent enough songs. I think they are fun. They're interesting, because I'm just like, damn, like how could you possibly get any dumber than what you just did? Like, oh, dude, he did it for sure. And at least it's still catchy. It's still fun. Like the such a dumb riff.
Should we get into Frantic?
Dong, 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 dong.
Do we want? Fuck it. Let's get into Frantic. Let's get into Frantic.
Damn, that's a banger for me for sure.
It's my 2B. It's my 2B. It's the opener as well. First song on the record. Dude, Lars just terrible with the intros. Like, he's so bad with intros, and what he does on the drums doesn't make any sense. It's incoherent. It doesn't transition with anything else. This entire record, it's just like, oh, Lars, you have a general tempo. You have a general template of how the song should go. Just kind of play whatever you want. Just fuck it. If it doesn't work well, we're gonna play around you.
I know,
because
dude.
God, his drums are just insane. Like, this is the worst drum performance he's ever had on any Metallica record. This is his worst drum performance. It's astonishingly bad.
It's impressive. It's really, really impressive. It's just like, damn, bro, like you can't do anything else except just stay in like this BPM territory, and you can't do anything else. And he has this whole fucking like cymbal setup.
I know.
And you watch him play, and all he does is just hit this one and fucking this one, right? That is it. Yeah. And the hi-hat. It's like, why do you have those extra 7 cymbals here? You don't hit them. You don't use your toms at all, except maybe just do like a dunk dunk. Like, that's it. Like, fuck off, man. Like, you're just such a pretentious fucking poser. He's a
And
poser.
oh god, you know what's so obnoxious with Lars too? I don't give a fuck. After this record, he actually like toned down his drum set, but by toning it down, he made it even more obnoxious. So like with this, he had the normal snare, kick, a hi hat, a couple rack toms, a couple floor toms, and then just a series of crashes, various crashes, ride, everything like that. After this record, like the Death Magnetic sessions and whenever they're touring up until now, he has snare, kick, hi-hat, one rack tom, one maybe two floor toms. He has one splash right here above the hi-hat. And then he has, instead of the ride cymbal, like on the right hand for the ride cymbal, where it's more for like the bell and all that kind of shit. Instead of a ride cymbal, he has a fucking China crash. The
Ugh.
loudest, most obnoxious. I love China crashes, but it's still very obnoxious.
It's a way for him to be heard. Like, I need to be heard. If I'm going to tone things down, I need to be
Let's
heard.
put a China crash where a ride cymbal is, where normally we're hitting the ride as much as we can, but let's put a China crash here to overpower everybody else live. And then I even saw it like several years ago, like late 2010s. There was a song that they played off of Ride the Lightning, which I don't remember what song it was, but it was a Ride the Lightning song that's very ride cymbal heavy. So what his drum tech actually had to do, and a lot of people called him out on this, the drum tech came out, took the China crash out, put a ride cymbal in there so he could play the Ride the Lightning song, and then the drum tech came out, took the ride cymbal out, put the China crash back in there just for that one song, just for the one song.
Yeah,
like,
how
dude,
embarrassing.
Can you be any more obnoxious? Like,
how embarrassing.
I don't know.
It's so stupidly
technical, but God, he's one of the most obnoxious musicians of all time. Can't stand Lars.
Can't stand
But
him.
I like him too.
And I like the song. I don't care. I like the song.
Frantic, yeah. I really do like the riff, even though it's so elementary.
Because it's fucking B Team Slipknot. It's B Team Korn. It's like if you or I wanted to write a Korn or Slipknot sounding song, this is what we would write.
Yeah.
As very, very, very amateur musicians, music lovers, this is the song we would write. Because like, oh, we like this stuff, therefore I'm going to write this. And that's what this sounds like. The unfortunate thing is like, these are gods. These are rock gods and musical icons. And like, this is the best you can come up with. It just sounds... Again, it sounds like too little, too late. It sounds like, damn, man, we are old. What are the kids like? Oh, they like this. It's like, come on, Grandpa, we liked that 5 years ago.
Yeah,
it's pathetic.
But also, it's like the riff is fun. It's really cool, but you get the guitar tone. Like you get the distorted part, which is fine. It's whatever. It's still a bad. It's still a bad tone.
Version of what they're going for.
It's a bad tone. But then they hit the clean channel. Like everything stops, even Lars stops. There's nothing. It's just the clean guitar and it plays the riff and it's like, damn, dude, this is like, are you 14 or 15 years old? It's like it's a very high school kid metal thing to do, which I would normally appreciate with a band, but because this record is so bad, like it's embarrassing. I love it. I love it, but I also don't like it too. It does.
Yeah. They don't even say go. Like go was something I just added to make it even cooler than they did. They should like go. Like if you put a cool drummer behind that, even with that shitty drum tone, if you put your boy Joey behind there, like god damn, this song would have been exponentially better.
You don't even have to like throw in like double bass. Like you could just have like a good drummer with a good solid beat. God damn.
See, the song bones are there. The bones are here.
The bones are there. But it's just it's executed so horribly, and the lyrics are some of the worst things they've ever done, or James has ever done, or any band has ever done.
Of course, this whole record, dude, it's fucking embarrassing. There's a point too in the documentary because like I had thought immediately like my lifestyle determines my death style. I was like, dude,
that's the worst.
Did a human really write that, or is that like an AI bot thing? That can't be real. And there's a point in the doc when like Lars heard that and like laughed, but like I was like, damn, that's fucked up, dude. But then he kind of played it off as he was laughing because it's so good. was like, nah, dude, you just got caught, bro. Like, you just got caught fucking tearing somebody down. They needed to be tore down for sure, but Lars tried to play it off like, oh, that's good. It's like, oh,
My lifestyle determines my death style. Like that is one of
wow.
the worst lyrics ever. And we're not even lyric men. And there was a time when when I was in the EMT, I was driving in the ambulance a lot, and the guy I worked with, my partner, I worked with him every shift, and he's very much into metal, but more into like Swedish metal, death metal, shit like that. And he likes like early Metallica, but he never heard anything past the Black album. And I'm like, hey, have you ever heard Saint Anger? And he's like,
Oh,
no,
God.
is it any good? I'm like, no, dude, it's fucking garbage. He's like, fuck it, let's listen to it. Like, we got an hour drive, we've got to transport somebody. Let's go. Let's fucking listen to it. So we threw on.
You subjected whoever you're transporting also to Saint Anger?
Yes. So we threw on Saint Anger, and we only got through the second song, and Daniel's like, no, this is like unbelievably bad. And like we were listening to Frantic, and he's like, is this actually Metallica? Like, is this real? Like he didn't believe it was Metallica. Joke. Yeah, he didn't even think it was Metallica because he's like, what is he saying in the chorus? I said, my lifestyle determines my death style. He's like, dude, that's like one of the worst things I've ever heard in my fucking life. Like this is, yeah, he was shocked that this is even Metallica. Like
that's like literally something shit we would see at like our high school fucking creative impulse, right? Like the metal kids, my lifestyle determines my death style. And as like 16-year-olds, we were like, oh, that's a pretty cool fucking lyric, dude. That's so deep, bro. But like, come on, man, as a fucking grown ass adult,
40-year-old man.
Oof.
Goddamn. But otherwise,
that's not even the only like horrible lyric on this album that I wrote down. That's just the first one.
I mean, honestly, the worst lyrics off this and Shoot Me Again. I mean, you can't get worse than the lyrics on either of those songs. But
there's one on Saint Anger that I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you.
Like, the way,
bro.
Like he like creeds it up, like he Scott Staps it. Madly in anger with you. Madly in anger with you.
And then also the wash your back, so I'll wash your back so you won't stab mine. When he had that epiphany in the dock, he's like, what? Yeah. Like, somebody wants something for something? Like, what do you fucking
that was
do,
because the radio station wanted them to like cut a promo for the station.
Yeah.
And like otherwise we're not going to play your song.
That's how it works, bro.
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth. Like, get the fuck out of here.
How long have you been in the music business? Like 20 years? And like you're just now realizing this? God damn.
I'll wash your back so you won't stab mine. Like, oh my God, so dramatic.
It is.
Get out of here.
And not only that, okay, so getting into Saint Anger, this is my 3B if I had to put
I like Saint Anger too. Oh, I hate it so much. I love it.
So this song is like, outside of the verses, this song is really good. Like it's super thrashy, it's fast, it's very, very aggressive. But then once the verse hits, it loses all fucking momentum. It sucks. That verse is insanely bad. Oh.
So like the whole like flush it out. Oh,
I hate
like,
that part too.
That's very new metal-y, right there.
100%, like, yeah.
Dude, they are reaching. They are trying, they are reaching. So like you don't like the fucking all and no regrets. You don't like
I don't
part?
mind that. No, it's the verses. It's like because it's the intro and the chorus. Okay, so the intro comes in, it's super fucking fast, super thrashy, and then it just stops. It goes like halftime, and then like just clean guitar, single notes, and then fucking James is like, he's just kind of like singing and being obnoxious, and then it builds. Like the pre-chorus hits, it builds, the chorus builds, and then it hits the fuck it all, no regrets. I actually really like that part. It's super fucking catchy. I really like it. It's just the verses are just so dumb. Like they're so unnecessary. It's gross.
Saint Anger
around my neck.
That's like
anger.
That's just him trying to like have this weird Southern drawl that he cannot do. And man, they've tried over and over and over, and like he just cannot do it. No. And that's fine. That's not who you are, dude. There's a lot of things I can do, and I don't try. Just stop fucking trying to do it, because it sounds like absolute shit.
Do what you do best, because you do it so well. That's the thing too. He does it so well.
See, that's where I'm gonna get on you though, because don't do what you do best. If they do what they do best, we get 72 seasons, and I would rather listen to this than 72 seasons any day of the week.
Come on,
it's more interesting to me.
It's only interesting because it's bad.
Yeah,
It's only
that's
interesting because it's
interesting.
bad.
That's interesting.
But that doesn't make for a good record. Like at least with 72 seasons, like you're like, oh damn, this is a really good melody. This is a really good riff. This is a really good part. A really good song. I mean, there's a lot
There's
of
good stuff here.
a lot of good moments on 72 seasons. But this, like, it's like 80% bad, or maybe 70% bad, 30% fucking. This is cool. This is rad.
But like
But
70 season is like 100% like, this is fine.
that's okay.
I've heard
That's
better.
way better.
I've heard better.
That's better.
Nah, see, I'd rather take 30% good
No.
over 100%.
Bullshit. If you're gonna sit an hour and 20 minutes and listen to 70% bad, then
Yeah.
100% good, like you're a fucking idiot. You're
No,
you're a glutton
no.
for
This
punishment.
is 70%
You're a glutton
bad,
for punishment.
30% is fucking great. 70 seasons, 100%. Just, it's good.
Just good. It's good. Solid.
But I'd rather have 30% great with 70% bad
You're dumb.
than 100%.
No,
That's good.
fuck out of here. Get out of here. You're dumb. That's stupid.
It's not interesting to me. It's boring. It bores me. It bores me. It does. Like a bore. I'm a bore.
Also, they made a video for Saint Anger, and they went to San Quentin prison.
Dude.
They played for like a bunch of the prisoners, and it's like, and then James is getting all like vulnerable.
He's like fucking
for the crowd.
crying and shit, dude.
I know, it's like, dude, these guys are in here for like murder and shit, and like some
You're not
heinous
Johnny
crimes.
Cash fuckface. Isn't like this isn't
Exactly.
the fucking 70s where these guys are locked up for minor drug offenses and shit and
Yes.
stupid stuff. Like these are hardened fucking gang criminals, man. These are like
Yes.
MS-13 fucking guys.
Yeah, the criminals in 2002, 2003 are way crazier than the criminals in the early 60s.
Like, they're really
just-
like
just-
blue collar criminals, dude. Just like
Like the caliber of criminals are night and day. Night and day. That 40-year difference is night and fucking day. And you're
Well,
you're being vulnerable with these guys. Like these guys don't even give a fuck about you.
no, they're just out there because they can get out. What was funny about the what's interesting too is that it was predominantly white guys in that crowd. Like there's no
Mhm.
fucking like I don't think you saw like one black dude in that crowd.
I saw a
watching
couple
this band
of
play.
Hispanic dudes, but yeah, it was mostly white guys.
And like it makes you think this is 2002. This is still pre like everything's fucking film. Like everything's like put under a microscope. So it kind of makes you think like I wonder, just to like appease the crowd, right, to prevent a full scale riot. I wonder if they did segregate them by race because they did.
Honestly, that wouldn't
all of
surprise
these
me.
people there.
That wouldn't surprise me, especially when a prison like that. That's so like it's high. It's such like it's like one of the most high
That's
security
where
prisons in
bad
America.
dude. That's where the baddest
Yeah.
of bad dudes go.
And to the point where they do literally segregate people because of the fights and all that kind of shit. So
They
that
will
actually
just
makes perfect
fucking
sense.
stab each other constantly.
Yeah, or
and
just
never
beat the
stop.
shit out of each other. It would become
Every
a
day,
full-blown,
all day.
It would become a full blown riot. Like had they mixed certain inmates. Yeah, absolutely.
And for like
it would be-
Metallica,
become a riot.
luckily it's saying Saint Anger, not an actual aggressive song, but still, it's aggressive enough.
Yeah.
See, I don't know, dude. It's so stupid. God, it's so stupid. I love it.
It's really fucking dumb.
It's like
really
that. It's
dumb.
like that. Hey Mickey song. Hey Mickey, you're so fun. Like
Fun to
nobody
do,
likes
my
that song,
Mickey.
dude.
Yeah, that song's stupid.
But you're always gonna
You're always gonna do the hand
right.
claps.
You're always gonna
Yeah.
clap. You're always
Yeah.
gonna like you're always gonna sing along because it's so stupid. This Saint Anger. Saint Anger's like the Mickey song of Tony Basil. I think her name was. That's what
Yeah, I
it
think
is.
Tony Basil. Yeah, I think so.
I like this record. And I don't care. I don't.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll save that for my wrap up. I don't like this
Okay.
record. but
And
I'll
honestly, I
save
feel like
that.
we're probably going to wrap it up soon because honestly, there's not much to talk about it. And we talked more about the documentary. And honestly, that's more interesting than most of this record. That documentary is way more interesting.
Not because this record is complete trash and garbage and whatever, but because the documentary is so fucking interesting to see like rock gods be vulnerable to the extent that it's pathetic. Like I pity them.
Do you know what what part I loved in the documentary so much was the reality check with Lars when, because obviously Jason had left the band and he had already been in that band Echo Brain, which Echo Brain is a terrible band. That band
I was gonna say I've
fucking
never
sucks.
fucking listened to
Dude,
them.
they
Never heard
suck.
of them until the doc.
Yeah, they're terrible. Because I remember I listened to them back in the day because Jason left the band. This is a new band. They sucked. But they went to go see Echo Brain play like a show at I don't know fucking I don't even like the Wiltern or like that size type venue, and but they didn't tell Jason that they were coming. So it was Lars, Kirk, Bob, and a couple other guys
It's
that went to the
fucked.
show, and but they didn't tell Jason, and they watched the whole show and whatever, and they went backstage to go like say like Jason, you did a good job, you did a great job or whatever, and Jason bailed. Like he found out like while he right before he went on stage, he found out that the guys from Metallica were there outside of James, and he just fucking bailed. And they were, and you could tell Lars like his ego was hit so hard by that, and like there was them like talking to the camera after they got blown off by Jason, and Lars is like visibly very very upset by this, and they're trying to like call out to like other like old like roadies and shit that used to be with Jason when he was in Metallica, and they're all ignoring the guys from they're all ignoring Lars and Bob and shit, and they're really really upset about it, and I fucking loved it. I loved
good.
it. I loved
Fuck
it.
off. I don't want to fucking stand around and meet the fucking guys who did me so shitty. Never publicly apologize and be fucking assholes about it. And to show up to my concert too. Like I'm sure like
Yeah.
the fucking big fans and or a big crowd gathered and they're like, oh my god, like this fucking Lars and guys from Metallica. Let's stop watching this band and just go and try and talk to them. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off, dude. But like,
I love that Jason blew him off. That was so. It was like so satisfying.
Is Jason that great of a bass player? Like, do we care?
No, it's not.
I
that,
never thought he was that great.
Right? Yeah, I agree. I think he's a good bass player, but he's not. He's not.
He was
great.
exponentially better.
Cliff,
Way better fit.
and especially Rob. Yeah, Rob is by far the best bass player they've ever had. But Jason, you know, what I liked about it was that Jason was treated so bad by James and Lars. Like he was. I mean, just reading the stories, like when they hired him after Cliff, and just how they treated him, and he gets some sort of like vindication or like satisfaction of screwing over Lars and James. Just is it's so satisfying. God, they just they did him so dirty. They did Jason so fucking dirty.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. You read any of those stories.
Yeah.
Like they would physically, emotionally, mentally just abuse this motherfucker. They treated him like garbage. Like even in front of people, like on stage, they would treat Jason like shit.
I mean, like
for years.
Like you're joining a band of guys that are constantly drinking way more than they should.
Well, yeah,
essentially the height of their career, yet they don't know it. At the height of this genre, yet they don't know it. And like they're making money hand over foot. They're all like pretty good looking dudes, right? So they're going to have like women hand over foot. Yeah. And they're young enough to where they can drink all fucking night and wake up the next day and be fine and have breakfast and go play a show the next night. And you're Jason Newsted, which, like, bro, you came from Flotsam and Jetsam. And people in Phoenix out here, like, Jason's not even from fucking Phoenix, too. He's from like the East Coast or some shit. But like, people idolize Flotsam and Jetsam. People love cool. Jason. Oh, Jason for fuck. They're fucking fine, dude.
They're cool. I mean, yeah, they're not like fantastic, but they're cool.
They're a dime a dozen. They are something that if Jason had not been in that band, nobody would give a fucking shit.
It's fair.
And they're not very good. They are just not. So like, yeah, I get it. Like, you hazed a new guy. And if you're fucking Metallica,
but they hazed him for 12 years or 13 years. They hazed him. It wasn't for like 6 months, a year.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that I understand it. I get why they did it.
Yeah. Also, the band's nickname was Alcoholica because they drank so much. They drank so much beer.
I forgot about that. That not Kurt Loder, but the black dude with the dreads that from MTV News.
Oh, from MTV News. Yeah, what was his name?
I don't remember his name, but when he put, because he's the one that said, "Oh, they call him an alcoholic." I was like, "Dude, I remember you. I totally forgot about you." Because I was thinking about Kurt Loder, right?
Kurt Loder and John Norris. Those are like the two that I always remember.
Who the fuck was John Norris?
You'll know him right when you see him, John Norris.
Oh, dude, John Norris, the ugly guy who pretended he wasn't ugly.
And then Kurt Loder was just kind of like the older guy on MTV, but. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that was a cool little throwback.
Yeah, it was fun.
Sway Calloway, was that the guy's name?
I don't remember his. I think it was just Sway. I think it was just like one word.
It shows a picture of him now. Sway MTV News. I don't know. He has a hat on, so I can't see his dreads. Oh yeah, that's him.
Sway? Is that?
Yeah,
is that
Sway Calloway.
All right. Well, I do want to get into a banger. My only true banger on here. So I only have one other banger here. It's Dirty Window. That's my one beat.
That's my 1B.
It has to be. It's honestly the only objectively good song outside of the intro, because that intro is terrible.
Yeah, they could just easily just started right from the riff. Just that's it.
Once again, it's Lars, being an asshole, not knowing how to play to a song. It's just unbelievable how bad this motherfucker is as a drummer, as a songwriter at moments. Like every part of his songwriting on this record is just objectively bad. And that intro is terrible. Great riff though. Love the riff.
You know what it sounds like? Like Dave, his I guess his daughter's kid.
Friend of the pod, Dave. Friend of the
pod, Dave. Not Dave Lombardo.
Not Dave Mustaine.
Or Dave Attell. Yeah, he I don't know what you would call it. What is your daughter's kid? Like a grandkid?
Grandkid. Yeah.
That wasn't
your
so
daughter's kid?
He they have like a little drum set at the house, which is just it's really it's a baby drum set.
Yeah.
But it sounds just like this. That's what it sounds like. That's what it fucking sounds like. And it's funny too. It's because we took the shitty cymbals off the little kid drum set and then we put them on the adult drum set in the jam room just to like be annoying when we play, because there's no drummers in the house. We all just switch off, keeping the beat while everyone else can goof off on guitar and bass. But it's fun to go like on the most like shitty industrial sounding garbage can lid you could possibly hear.
I like it.
That's what Lars does.
I like it.
Yeah. But anyway, you're right. Dirty Window is the best song for sure. It's just, man, dude, so much of Lars' drum set comes through on this album and this song, and it's like, why the fuck do you have to be so obnoxious? Why do you have to ruin a cool song? And this kind of has like this cool sort of like psychobilly sound of this song, which I really like. And there's this the slowed down part, like in the pre-chorus, like the judge jury part, right?
Yeah,
it's a solid riff that reminds me of System of a Down, like the ding 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 ding, the everybody that like solo part.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Ding, ding, like that thing, that kind of like swing to it. It's got like this little like kind of like weird Middle Eastern-y swing to it. And again, I do think that these guys really wanted to appease like the kids. How do we get the kids back on our side? Because the adults are grown up and they fucking moved on. Like, how do we get the kids back on our side? And this is a pathetic attempt at it.
Honestly, I feel like if this song was on like a good Metallica record, this would be the worst song on a good Metallica record. But this is the best song on a bad Metallica record. That's really what Dirty Window is. It's also way too long, 5.5 minutes long. Yeah, no guitar solos. And just jumping on the guitar solo thing again, it's like even after this record, like right after this record came out, they were playing guitar solos on some of these songs. Like Kirk was ripping it up for like a couple bars. He was ripping it up for, in certain like empty spots where James wasn't singing, which was cool too. Even to this day, when they'll play like Saint Anger or Frantic every once in a while, Kirk will throw in some decent, nothing great, but some decent solos that help transition between various parts, which is fun. Yeah, I don't know. Dirty Window, what it comes down to is that verse is really good. I mean, not the verse, the chorus. The chorus is really good. And it actually sounds like the band was like collaborating as a unit and writing the song together and not just letting Lars play whatever the fuck he wants. God. Dirty Window's good. Lyrically, I think it's about like James's alcoholism and how people judge him and things like that, which, I get it. He's being vulnerable, but lyrics are still rough.
I mean, like, just because you're being vulnerable does not mean that I'm not going to like go over your lyrics with a magnifying glass and make fun of your shitty lyricism. Sorry. Like it sucks that you're going through it, and I feel for you, but damn, bro, you like really, like you actually like penned some of the stuff and stood behind it.
Yeah.
Unforgiven.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I even though this is the best song on the record, almost playlistable or playlistable in certain situations.
This is for sure playlistable. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't have very many good, like, positive things to say about it. I really don't.
Dude, Frantic is playlistable. Saint Anger is playlistable. Some Kind of Monster is playlistable. Dirty Window is playlistable.
Get out of here.
Invisible Kid is playlistable.
No, shut up. Get the fuck. Now I know you're lying. Now I know you're lying.
Now I know you're lying through your teeth. Well, no, I'm a phenomenal dancer.
Also, so I have a couple other notes outside of this song. Or do you have anything else on with Dirty Window?
No, 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 no.
Because I don't either. But a couple other things that I want to talk about. Um, so the going back to the drum tone very briefly, which I forgot about until right now, but the normally with a producer and engineer and all that kind of shit, and the drummer themselves, they spend hours or days or weeks trying to get that drum tone. Bob Rock literally said they spent 15 minutes getting that drum tone, that drum sound. And he said they used way less mics than they've ever used, which makes sense because the drums are so loud and obnoxious already. Why fucking mic it up? They already sound like garbage. Putting 20 mics in there compared to 10 mics or 8 mics, who gives a fuck at that point, right? So yeah, it took 15 minutes to get the drum sound, drum tone, and that also makes sense because it's fucking terrible.
It's,
Also, what?
I mean, like it depends on the band. Like Metallica is a band that you should be going into the recording studio just using whatever the fuck you do live. People are coming to see you live. They enjoy your records, but they want to hear on album what you are doing live. Like this whole concept of just fucking like fine tooth combing over tones and effects and pedals. Like fucker, just play the fucking song, bro. Like whatever you are playing live should just easily translate into the studio. Now I get like not everything is going to translate well because some stuff is made specifically for live things, but there's no reason you should be spending days on a drum tone
Which
for
I
a
agree
band
with.
like Metallica. Fuck out of here. Like you're nothing more than a fucking metal band. You're a thrash band, a metal band. Spend a day tops. Call it.
Yeah,
That's it.
I agree with. That I agree
15
with.
minutes is pretty wild. That's enough just to like set something up and then we're done. Like what the fuck? We didn't even do anything. But like no more than a day, dude. Not for a band, not for a metal band like this. Like Slipknot, I would get, right? Because there's individual parts. There's a lot of moving parts to that thing.
Yeah,
They're much better musicians.
way better musicians.
So like
Everybody.
I get that. But come on, dude.
Yeah.
Nah.
And also going back to Rob a little bit with his introduction to the band. It's not talked about in the documentary, but Rob was on a podcast a couple of years ago that I listened to, and they asked him about him joining Metallica, and he said, "Yeah, after I got the job and all the contract was done and everything, he's like, oh no, it was the day of the audition, and this is one of the things that led to him actually getting hired as the member of the band. He said um, after the audition, Lars asked him, "Hey, do you want to go out tonight? Do you want to go to the bar? There's a really cool bar down the street. Let's go. If you're down, let's do it." Rob's like, "Well, why would I say no? You know, this is Lars. You know, what else have I got to do?" So he went out with Lars that night, just Lars, and they got so blackout wasted. They got so fucking drunk. And I guess like Lars was starting fights with people and shit like that. They were like super wasted. And Rob said that they didn't get home until like 5 a.m, but then they had to be at rehearsal at 11 a.m. or noon, and Rob didn't know how he was going to do it. And he's like, "How the fuck is Lars going to do this? Like, he's older than me. Like, how is he going to do this?" So Rob goes into he wakes up like after a couple hours of sleep, walks in still drunk, still hungover. He walks in and Lars like acting like nothing happened, like they never went out the night before. And Lars actually told Rob after that, he's like, "This is how I knew that you would be able to hang with the band, because no matter what we put you through, you could still show up on time and put the work in and do all this kind of shit." And he said that, and Rob was saying like Lars is like one of the craziest partiers he's ever been around, and he fucking played with Ozzy and shit.
That's just like you're too old for that, dude.
True,
that's
Lars
cool
is
when
too
you're
old.
like 20, 25, but you're too old to like put somebody through then. Like, yeah, of course you can go out and like we do it every time we hook up for the weekend, right? That's all we do for the whole weekend. At some point, you're gonna have to sleep. Like this is a fucking fact. At some point, your body's gonna be like, bro, you're done, or you're gonna get mad cirrhosis of the liver. Either of those things is good. It's a fucking fact that will happen. So like this whole like concept of like these guys like drinking constantly excessively over the years and years and years, and unless you got money, like there's a reason why Magic Johnson has AIDS and is not dead yet. It's because they have fucking money.
They have a lot of money. Yeah.
So like money can keep you alive and
HIV,
then do wonders. Sorry, excuse me. Either way, he's got fucking money, and that's why he's still alive.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was being an idiot. Um, so let's give our final thoughts
That's
on
great.
Saint Anger. Because honestly, I feel like we bled this one dry. Final thoughts on this record. Rate the record based off of our world famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album, give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So what do you got? Go.
It's cool when people like in movies, they touch the brim of their hat. If they have like a cool hat, like that goes all the way around, like a detective hat, and they go like this, like that.
It's not that cool.
It's pretty cool, right? Looking at a
No,
cute kid. I've always liked that. That's fucking cool. That's what hats are for. That's why we have brims. That's why brims were invented. Instead of just
brims were to keep the sun and the rain out of your eyes.
False. Brims were invented so you could do that and make that noise too, like that.
Otherwise, it doesn't count. If you don't make the noise, it doesn't count.
So,
you're your biggest fan.
Anyway, God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Yeah. I don't love this album. I do think it's fucking fascinating. I do think this era of this band is so fucking fascinating. It's just this, because it's documented. If it wasn't documented, I don't think I would be as like super obsessed with this. And last time I did this, I did rank this fairly high. I pulled it up here for I ranked this above Death Magnetic, Black, Hardwired, Lulu, Load, Ruby Load. So I've always enjoyed, like, again, I do think no matter what, the bones are here. There is a great Metallica record here. This is just like the first draft of possibly 10 that probably should have happened. And like if 10 steps would have happened, right? Getting rid of Bob Rock, getting an actual bass player, telling Lars to cool the fuck down, telling James to grow the fuck up. Like a lot of things had to have happened for this to become a great record. But because this is so fucking bad, because it's such a dumpster fire, it's like rubbernecking, right? Like you see an accident on the highway, like you do you not
it's
look?
Like
of course you're gonna fucking look. You're gonna look. You're gonna look and you're gonna be interested, and then you're gonna talk, right? You have Tammy in the car. Oh, do you see what happened? What do you think happened? You're gonna kind of like go through the motions, like, oh, do you think they're going too fast? Who's at fault? Like, what's going on? You're gonna talk about it. You're gonna wonder. That's what this record is. It's like rubbernecking. Yeah. I'm fascinated by just how this could have been. Like, how did this slip through the cracks? Who okayed this? This is crazy. Like everything about this record is like a fucking joke. It's like we're all punked. Like everybody got punks. And like I don't know if I like the cover art or not. I sometimes I think like, oh, it's pretty cool. I like it. And sometimes like, really? That's what you came up with? Like that's the guy? Wow, man. I don't know. I enjoy this because I think it's fascinating. This is I probably do like a 1.5 on this. I
1.5, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah, I do go back to some of these songs because I do like the first like 4 or 5 songs I do enjoy. It's fun. And it's a fun listen. It's a fun listen through and through. And I do think this is a more fun listen than everything else after it. And I do think it's a more fun listen than the Black Album and Load and Reload, except Lulu, which I love Lulu.
You're
facts.
Dumb. Final thoughts for me. This record is not good. It's not good for so many reasons, and we went over almost all of those reasons already.
Do them again.
Do them again.
Do them again.
Shoot me again. Shoot me again. That's a perfect example as to why this record is not good.
We didn't even talk about the tick, 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 tock,
tick, 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 tick. Oh, it's like, so
that's
bad.
Crazy.
Fran tick, 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 tock. How many times can you say tick? It's
the only
so
person
bad.
that can repeat themselves that much is our boy Tom, and he can say it hurts 17 times in a row.
It hurts,
and it's okay.
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts.
17. Do you still count do you still always count to 17 whenever he says it?
You count. You got to count. And you got to like act like you're burning your hand on the stuff. Like it hurts. It hurts. It hurts.
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts.
Fran tick 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 tock.
A grown ass adult fucking wrote that down. A grown ass like fucking metal god thought that was a good lyric.
And also that nobody told him this is not good. This is bad. And that's where this wrap up is going, is that this Metallica was such a machine. They were so big. The management was so deep, with people, with yes men, with yes men. Mm-hmm. That's what this whole company that Metallica is. It's full of yes men at this point. Nobody wanted to say no to them because no matter what they did, it was going to make money. And sure as shit, Saint Anger has sold over 6 million copies worldwide. This bullshit of a record sold 2 million just in the US and then 6 million worldwide. That's insanity because this record is garbage. You see it all over the documentary. Even their manager, like their main guy, their manager was like, when they were listening to it with him, he was like, the first couple songs are good, they're solid, but after that, like, you guys could have done this and that. But he was very kind of like, he didn't want to go too far with the criticisms. Bob Rock is completely like one of the most useless producers I've ever seen in any capacity. Completely useless, bending over backwards, and because he wanted to be the new bass player. Nobody wanted to say anything bad about anything they were doing. It's remarkable for a band that was making this much money, how bad they were taken advantage of, because they were so vulnerable. They were so lost, going through this midlife crisis. But literally everybody outside of the three of them, Kirk, Lars, and James, everybody took advantage of this band and took advantage of them individually at this time. And it's sad, it's fucked up, but it's still no excuse for a absolutely abysmal record. And that's what this is. Like, it truly is.
But it gets a 1.75.
It gets a 1 out of 3. Listen to it once, because that's all you need, and you'll understand how bad this record is, and you'll never go back to it, because it's not a good like. I only listened to it as many times as I did because I loved Metallica so much. I love them. I love this band so much growing up, and so I listened to it dozens and dozens of times. But it doesn't matter. Like, you can only like a band so much.
You should be a harsher critic on like albums like Hardwired. Hardwired,
and I was still harsh.
It's such a fucking boring ass.
It
record.
is. I agree.
Death is such a boring ass. 72 seasons is a boring ass Metallica record.
And I understand, and I totally get it.
You should be harsher on those records. You're harsh on this record because everybody is. You should be harsher on those records.
No.
This is something entirely different.
Comparing this to the last 3 Metallica records is not even fair. Not even fair.
Why?
Like this
they
is
actually
just
tried to do something different here.
This is just so beyond. Who cares if they were trying to do something different? I don't give a fuck if they're trying to make a jazz record. I don't give a fuck if it's bad. That's fucking bad. I don't give a fuck.
But they tried to make a thrash record, and it was fucking stupid and boring as fuck. But you think it's like,
this is it.
The 5th best record.
This is them trying to make another thrash record.
Them trying to make another thrash record. 72 Seasons, Hardwired, and Death Magnetic. That is them trying to make another fucking early Metallica record. Boring.
I agree to an extent, but also Death Magnetic is a solid thrash record. It is a solid thrash record. Great melodies, great drumming. I mean, for Lars, it's great drumming, great solos. Death Magnetic is honestly a great throwback. Like, you could put it up there with like 13
it's a great
from
throwback
Sabbath,
to their best records, correct?
Which is still good. But Saint Anger is fucking garbage. Saint Anger is garbage. It's a bad fucking record. I
like to call it interesting. It's interesting.
Stop saying it. No, it's not. That's going to go on the no-no list.
It's already on the no-no list. I know.
Yeah, because I stopped saying it.
But it's an interesting record. There's a lot of interesting things going on here.
Only because it's so bad, and everything that surrounded it is so bad. God, so it's a 1 out of 3 for me. I don't care. It's a 1 out of 3.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's all I have for this one. As far as I know, as far as you and I know, we're wrapping up Easy Hard Season next week with a truly iconic band, and arguably one of their worst records, if not their worst record they've ever put out.
It's their worst record than the one we're doing.
It's the record we're doing is better than Saint Anger. The record we're doing next week for this band that I'm talking about is better than Saint Anger. Okay. Anyway, so thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, share all the posts, tell your friends. That's it. That's all.
Tony.